Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of oil and natural gas. We're going to look at the charts. I'll give you my financial opinion. Please don't use it as advice, but I'll give you my financial opinion, see what I see in the charts. And here we go. So what we've got right now is the light crude oil futures. And we can see a little bit of a red candlestick here with a wick at the top. I even called it yesterday or this morning as I released it. I taped this, so I'm taping this 3/3 after market close and releasing it in the morning of the next day. I said watch for a wick at the top and a dark candlestick, a down day. So it opened up, came back, and this is a reversal candlestick. We'll probably get a little bit of a pullback in oil here, is my guess, with this candlestick and the way it looks. Natural gas, a little bit of a small down day today. And guys, I'm not doing anything with my shares. I'm just holding on to everything. I just want to make sure everyone understands that. We could have a small little pullback, but you know, the market has a lot of volatility, has a lot of news throwing things around. We could go higher. I'm not predicting that we go lower, but the candlestick on oil is a reverse candlestick to go lower. XOP, what we look for is we look to see how strong the oil producers and oil companies and energy service companies are. And when they're strong, if oil puts in we'll call it a pullback type move, what are the companies doing? And it's just a small little down day for XOP. So it's actually quite resilient. I think this is a good spot to be. I think they'll eventually go higher, and we'll probably see either a small downward to sideways movement out of these companies if oil goes lower. They're looking very resilient. SM Energy is just a small little down day today, looking fantastic. It's holding right at its resistance line. It's right on top of it. It's pausing here, waiting for oil to move, so SM and these other companies can break to the upside. CDEV getting a little bit more of a down move today. It is a retest move where we are coming back and retesting the breakout. This is usually where I get excited and get a little bit of shares myself. CWEGF is also at its resistance line. A little bit of a pullback today. In the big scheme of things, this is really not a big deal. CPE, Callum Petroleum, it hit its head on its resistance line, pulled back a little bit. It's not selling off very much. Notice that we've got a wick at the bottom here. We've got a wick at the bottom. Buyers are coming in and buying it up after it's hitting that resistance and selling off. Buyers are still there holding these things up. Athabasca getting a little bit more of a sell-off. It tried running above its resistance line, but it got sold off a little bit. Recaf, a little bit of an up day. We're still below this resistance line. Still looking okay. This is Crescent Point Energy. This is a breakout. We're probably going to see a return move and then a move higher out of Crescent Point. Northern Oil and Gas, it tried selling off, but the buyers bought it back up throughout the day. So this still looks good. It's holding on very well. Grand Tierra Energy getting a little bit more of a sell-off here, more of a bearish engulfing. We might see a little bit of a pullback on that. Tellurian, it went up and hit its head on its resistance, and it's coming, it's pulling on back a little bit. This is a big resistance line, but when we break this, we could see potentially a big run out of it. Pedevco, a little bit of a small down day, nothing really too much to worry about there. Oasis Petroleum, small down day, back to its support line, still looking okay. Comstock Resources, just a small down day, right at support. Sandridge Energy, SD, this is a bullish piercing pattern. Usually those resolve themselves higher. We are at this resistance all-time, 52-week high, I should say. Yep, definitely a 52-week high. We're right there trying to break through it. Ring Energy, we're above support. We've got some buyers that bought it back up throughout the day. This looks good to move higher. That looks good. Surge Energy getting a little bit of a sell-off today. It's just a normal down day. And then Tamarack Valley Energy, this is a bearish engulfing pattern. We could have a little bit lower. There's support right underneath it, though. So we'll see if that support holds. Looking at OIH, the VanEck Oil Services ETF. We're just moving up in this channel, still looking good. Tetra Technologies moving on higher, finishing strong. I actually like this candlestick and how it finished. Even though it was a smaller update, it still looks quite strong. Transocean, small little update. I like it right here, guys. I added this to the donations portfolio. This is a big pullback, and we're trying to break through the neckline of the inverted head and shoulders right here. So that one looks good. PUMP moving higher. This one also looks good. This one's a fresh breakout of this big pattern here. So I think we're gonna have a big run. Usually, it's the size of the opening, and this is a weird opening. And I'm not sure how to really project this one higher, but it's got good potential to move a good ways higher. Exterior Corporation putting in a big bottom. Look at the volume here. This guy looks like it wants to move on up. It's a good break. Let me do the logarithmic one here. The big long-term downtrend break. This looks fantastic. Valeris is really starting to take off. This is one that broke its resistance line here. Did a little bit of a bouncing off of it. Now it's starting to move higher. So that one looks good. MRM or MMA Offshore. This one looks fantastic to accumulate for a long-term hold. I would be a buyer right here myself. Right here, guys, I like it. Tidewater up 4.18%. Another one that looks absolutely excellent on a long-term break. We broke out with vengeance on this nice large update. It's moving sideways. This is still bullish to move higher. NEX, another one that's just ripping it day after day after day. Big move. We're at 828, and this was all the way at 336. A little over 2 months, about 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Things have been ripping it. KLXE. Now, KLXE I want to talk about. This is one that some people were talking about in the comments section. If you can identify this bottom, you can make lots of money. SM Energy had the same bottom. It's called the Slingshot pattern. What happens is you get a nice sideways movement here where this high is. We come down, we come up and hit that guy, we pull back to about the same level as this, and then we're going to come up, we're going to dilly-dally here, and then we're going to break. That is what is in its future for KLX Energy. The sideways movement is all the way at $18. So we could go to $18 and still be inside a massive pattern. So this pattern is the same pattern as IPI, as REMX, as COPX, as a whole bunch of different patterns from a long-term perspective at the bottom here. This is, if you can identify this type of bottom, you will make a ton of money. And what that bottom looks like is you have a surge in buying pressure up here, a slow leak off of sellers, and you want to buy it if you can at this bottom. That is the best entry point of anything, especially if the entire sector of everything else is moving up. So what I'm going to, as a challenge for everyone on this channel, if you can identify this pattern, if you see other companies that have this pattern that's behind me, and they're at this location down here, please let everyone know. Search and find companies that are at this bottom in commodities that are lagged, and then we can catch them on this bottom here. Because that is the lowest risk, highest reward area that you can buy at. And KLXE is working its way up. Very good pick, very good if you guys have identified that one. Champion Corporation, this guy has still got the kind of inverted head and shoulders that we're trying to break to the upside. Cactus Energy down a little bit today. This one is broken to the upside. This thing still looks fantastic for a move up. I still like it. OII, this is Oceaneering International. It's right below its long-term resistance line right here. Once we break that, it's game on like Donkey Kong. Noble Energy, this one broke this downtrend line. I was a buyer in the donations portfolio here, and we are moving higher. It is a breakout. HLX is another one that I bought in the donations portfolio. And we are moving on higher. I like the way this thing looks. We're right at resistance. If we can break this resistance line, we are in a monster pattern here. I'm buying it from the long-term perspective. I'm not buying it for the short-term gain. We got to break $6, and then we're off to the races on a monster move, I think, if it can do it. And then CGGYY is putting in a bottom. This thing looks fantastic from a long-term perspective. I bought some, and I'm just going to hold on. And then coal, I'll put coal in here, guys. This has been absolutely ridiculous what coal's doing. But New Hope Corporation, it's breaking its long-term downtrend. It is rocketing higher out of it. Looks fantastic. That's NHPEF. We've got BTU rocketing higher. It's breaking out of its resistance line. Looks absolutely fantastic as well. Looking mega uber ultra strong. Yancoal, which I said, down here would be a good time to buy it. That's where I saw it. Now the volume's stepping in and going into launch mode. So I luckily identified this early. I don't own any because I don't know how to buy it. But this one looks ridiculously good. I wouldn't buy it up here, guys. I would not be chasing these, in my opinion. If it's already moving like this, you should be in it, holding on to it, and letting it run. Another one that's doing good is Whitehaven Coal. If we take a big long-term perspective on this guy, we've got a big pattern that we're trying to break. If we break this pattern, guys, it's got a lot of room to run. On the right-hand side here, we've got the volume stepping in. This is a clear bottoming pattern that's going to break and make a lot of people a lot of bank. It's going to bank a lot of money for somebody. And, maybe I'll buy some too. I haven't bought any. I've been buying other things, energy service companies and whatnot. But the opportunities here in all these commodities are just absolutely ridiculous. There's so many opportunities. And the way that I break up these opportunities is I look at how big the patterns are. How big the patterns are and how they're reacting right now to market moves. If we're getting 10, 11% up days, they've got a lot of bounce. And we want to be, in my opinion, I want to buy those that have the bounce, that have the leverage. I spread my money out to diversify myself against the risk of any company going bankrupt, the risk of Russia doing something like going to war, and then your Russian companies going to poop. I diversify out, and I want to catch some of these really big movers. So I'm trying to get exposure to the largest patterns that I can find, where my entrance points are that's how I reduce my risk, is a good entry point, very low. Technically, it looks good, and it's got a high probability of breaking the pattern. So I buy those, and then I just hold on. If something goes, poorly, I manage that through my position size, and if it's below 5%, I can manage. If I have the 50% down, that's only 2.5% of my portfolio. I can make that up quite easily on something else, especially if some of these have the potential to do 10x, 20x, or whatever. Those will really blow up your portfolio if you have a couple of them in your portfolio. So really, it's a betting strategy at that point, and that's kind of how I look at it. If you guys like the content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.